Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 56. Before dawn, the campus of Imperial Capital University was already full of people. The freshmen from the 4 famous schools gathered together, and each lined up in a square formation, waiting for the opening of the Lost World. And outside the phalanx, there are more sophomores and juniors. Of course, this is a freshman competition, and they will not be allowed to enter. But when the alien world is opened, the alien elements inside will overflow, which is why these old students are waiting here. Under the gazes of many expectant eyes, the top of the power tower of Imperial University began to emit light. This tower's usual function is similar to that of the training building of Modu University. But at the same time, it is also related to the Lost World. During the time when the crack appeared, this tower was called the Lost Tower. The spire seems a bit weird. I don't want it to be something from this world. Could it be that the spire of this tower came from the crack? Below, Su Ming saw that the 813 light on the top of the tower only extended apart, which meant that the entire tower was not the core of the Lost World opening, and only the spire of the tower really functioned. Suddenly, there was a strong power fluctuation from the top of the tower, and the coercion alone made people surrender. Su Ming just wanted to react, but found a slight change in the space around him, which felt similar to a space channel. Fixed point space teleportation. I can do it if it's just that, but this channel seems to be fixed, and it can be triggered only by the injection of abilities. The civilization on the other side of the crack can already use space to this extent. Feeling the transmission process carefully, Su Ming said with some emotion, his heart moved slightly, and his body stood steadily on the ground. The foreign elements rushing towards him made the supernatural powers in his body jump for joy, and his blood boiled. If he didn't know the purpose of coming here, he would have started to meditate on the spot. It seems that an extremely tragic battle took place in this place. And the time when the battle took place is a long time ago. Touching the exposed rock, although it is already very blurred, it can be seen that there are some faint pattern imprints on it, which seem to be carved out, but under the scouring of time, it has become flat. According to Shangguan Shang, the strongest alien beasts in this lost world are only at the 5th level, and they are not of the attacking type. Most of the alien beasts are at the 2nd to 3rd level. It is simply an excellent hunting field. After distinguishing the direction, Su Ming thought of a place and rushed away. Lost in the alien world, the closer to the center, the stronger the alien beasts, and the more emperors there were. So if he wants to get more evolution points, the marginal position is not suitable for him to play. Of course, when encountering strange beasts on the road, there is no reason to let them go. The ones that are far away are to be killed with the space blade, and the ones that are sent up on their own initiative are to be killed with the piercing slash. Not to mention how peculiar the property of Pokong is, just the characteristics of A-level swords are not comparable to those of C-level swords. When cutting alien beasts, you will not feel the pressure at all. In just half an hour, Su Ming ran and pushed all the way to the inner circle, and his evolution point increased by more than 5,000. It may be that the alien beasts here have a blood relationship with the original alien beasts, and the evolution points obtained by killing them are higher than those outside. What a place! What a place! It's heaven. Looking at the beast crystal nuclei and 4-digit evolution points piled up in the storage space, Su Ming wanted to laugh up to the sky. Needless to say about the evolution point, although the effect of mimicry training is significant, but the effect of the evolution point is still not small. Who would not want their abilities to be stronger? As for the alien beast crystal cores, although they are all of the 2nd order, there are a lot of them. If you take them out, you can earn at least tens of millions. And this is just the beginning of the competition. Maybe after they go out, they will be able to complete a set of B-level weapons. I don't know what's going on with Fatty and Shunzi. It's been so long, and they should be near the middle circle. Su Ming couldn't help thinking. He ran all the way, coordinated with the space teleportation, except for killing strange beasts on the way. He basically didn't waste any time. So in terms of the speed of entering the circle, he is not worried that he will be slower than others. According to the speed of ordinary people, he should still be hovering in the outer circle. Regardless of whether the road is good or not, the strange beasts that appear at any time will always slow down their progress. However, although the harvest along the way was good, it was a pity that Su Ming did not see any traces of the ruins. Of course, it may be because he was too fast and did not explore carefully. 5,000 evolution points should be able to strengthen the ability. The more of this stuff, the better. As soon as the mind moved, the 5,000 evolution points disappeared. As the number of evolutions increased, the evolution points consumed by each evolution also increased a lot. When it was more than 4,000 years ago, there was no way to evolve at all. According to this increase, if you want to strengthen the ability next time, the evolution point may be more than 10,000. Brother Feng, are you really here? You can't make a mistake. How can it be? I came here according to the map, and there will be no mistakes. The ruins must be nearby, so look for it carefully. At this time, Su Ming's mental power suddenly heard a whisper, and the other party mentioned the ruins during the conversation, which attracted his attention. It seems that Imperial Capital University is still taking care of its own people. They actually have a marked map of the ruins. Moving quietly around the group of people, Su Ming saw that the leader was holding a map in his hand, and he was checking the surrounding environment at the moment. It is not difficult to see from the clothes on their bodies that they are students of Imperial University. This is the home court of Imperial University. It is also a matter of reason for people to give some convenience to their own people. But since I was bumped into by myself, let's talk about it. I will have such a map in my pocket sooner or later. Immediately, Su Ming began to use his mental power to explore the surroundings. The reason why he didn't grab the map now was because he was worried that he would not be able to find the location of the ruins first. Hee. It's also fortunate that I have practiced mimicry, otherwise I would be a little bit hung up. Not long after, Su Ming discovered a clue in one place. Although this ruin was not as simple as he thought, it was not very complicated either. The overlapping space of 0.6 also confirmed some ideas of Su Ming. The civilization behind the crack must have unusual space ability. If it is an ordinary person, there is no way to open such a relic, especially the students who came in this time, and they can't even sense the space, even if they find this relic. Also blind. But Su Ming is different. It's complicated because it has space ability on it, and it's simple because it has such space ability, it can't stop Su Ming at all. This kind of overlapping space cannot be entered by teleportation, but space teleportation can. After all, the overlapping space is only a part, and the space hidden behind is a normal space. As the vortex disappeared, Su Ming's figure also disappeared from the spot. Chapter 57. What caught my eye was a very ordinary room, the size of which was similar to 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. There should be some decorations inside, but it has existed for too long, and there are only piles of dust on the ground. The so-called relics should be left by the commander who once lived here, but judging from the current situation, not every relic has something worth exploring. Looking at the traces of decay left behind, Su Ming shook his head helplessly. God knows how long this alien world has been lost. There are not many objects that can withstand the passage of time. There was nothing of value to be seen in the hall, so we could only look at the other 3 rooms. To Su Ming's surprise, even after so long, the device on the door was still working. But this is not a problem for Su Ming. He has come in from the outside. Can he be blocked by a door? Damn it. No wonder there are so many alien elements here than outside. The things that lived here before, every single 28 is so rich. Entering the first room, Su Ming was dazzled by the scene in front of him. The power stone in the smaller half of the house, although a lot of alien elements have passed away, but the walls of the house are covered with a special coating. Although the foreign world molecules spilled out, only a small part of them floated outside, which caused the concentration of foreign world molecules in the room to reach an unbelievable level. If the relics in the alien world have reserves of such a scale of power stones, even if only a little alien molecule floats out from each ruin, after a long period of accumulation, it is no wonder that the concentration of alien molecules in the lost alien world can reach the current scale. Su Ming originally wanted to take away all the power stones here, but after thinking about it, he decided to take the entire room together. Although the storage space can also block the loss of alien elements, isn't there a strange body of an alien beast inside? What if some indescribable changes occur between that thing and the alien elements, destroying your storage space? That would be too bad. This room seems to be a training place. Are these scattered metals from training equipment? After cutting the first room into the storage space, the next room unexpectedly appeared in front of Su Ming's eyes. After all, the 2 rooms share a common wall. Compared with the first room, the inside is very monotonous, but the most eye-catching places are the deep pits on the ground and the knife marks on the wall opposite the door. There are not many things, only a few pieces of metal scattered on the ground. Su Ming took it away without saying a word. No matter what it is, it must be difficult to preserve it. Let's talk about it after taking it. Anyway, I have the warehouse on my back, and I can take as much as I can. Strange. This wall looks like an ordinary structure. Why does it feel like it's about to be split when I get close? People with strong mental power have much sharper senses than ordinary people. The knife marks on the wall seem to have passed for a long time, but the sharp edge coming from above makes people feel extremely dangerous. Could this be the so-called saber intent? However, there is no such ethereal thing in the Alliance's existing cultivation system. Combining the experience of the previous life, Su Ming determined the feeling on the knife mark. Although there are many uses of mind in various novels, it seems that this kind of language has not appeared in the world he is in now. Even a cultivator, in the later stage, will rely on blood to suppress the enemy. Not to mention, it can basically be solved with supernatural powers, and you will never use weapons unless you are in a weak position. I don't care. Although this saber intent lasts for a long time, but the time has passed for too long, it should not have much power. Let's talk about it after taking it away. Regardless of why the Alliance did not propose the concept of intention, but since I have encountered it, there is no reason to give up, and I will take it back and study it slowly. Looking at the room with only 2 walls left, Su Ming himself smiled wryly. Others entered the ruins to explore, but he came here to demolish it. Then he came to the 3rd room, which should be the so-called bedroom, and the furnishings outside were the same, except for some metal parts. Most of the things were decayed. Hey, you actually came in. It seems that the Imperial Capital University is guarding this alien world, and it's not like eating and drinking all the time. While Su Ming was looking at it, Mental Force noticed that someone had appeared in the hall, and he couldn't help being a little surprised. The arrangement of overlapping spaces was not difficult for him, but it was different for others. Okay, I'll leave the cleaning to you, and I'll leave first, my lord. It was too late to investigate carefully, and everything that was found to be useful was swept away, leaving a house of ashes for the latecomers. Brother Feng, the ruins are really here. Looking at the scale, there are a lot of good things. After Su Ming left the ruins, 3 people appeared in the hall with excited faces, and the tone of their speech was full of excitement. That's right. If you're just messing around with my brother, how can you make a mistake? You two should be quick. This lost world belongs to our school, so the things here are also ours. Whatever it has, just take it away. The leader said that under normal circumstances, even the students of the Imperial Capital University rarely have the opportunity to enter the lost world. This time, although students from other schools were allowed to enter, as an aborigine, the Imperial Capital University still has some ideas. Brother Feng, why is there such a big gap here? It seems like the wall 510 has been removed. The 3 immediately began to search for items, and when they saw the gap in the house that Su Ming had moved out of, they were immediately stunned. It should be collapsed. Otherwise, who would be so boring to remove the walls inside the ruins? Besides, the protection of this ruins is so good, without special means, it is impossible to get in, let alone. Damn, this what's up Nima. Brother Feng wanted to say that others couldn't get in, but he saw the scene inside the gap. The first house disappeared completely, but the second house still has 2 walls here, so it's easy for people not to see it. What was it like before? Brother Feng, look, there are footprints here, someone came here before us. The time of the existence of the ruins can no longer be queried. There will be some dust accumulation on the ground. Although the traces left by walking over are not deep, they are not without. Damn, could it be another classmate? But why did they take away the wall? Is this demolition coming? Although I really don't want to admit it, but the fresh shoe prints are here, someone has indeed come in before them. However, they didn't think it was someone from another school, but that students from Imperial University should have come over first, but they couldn't figure out why the other party took away the wall. Chapter 58. A moment later, when the 3 of them finished exploring the ruins, a roar penetrated the overlapping space. Hey, poor doll, don't blame me for not keeping the hair for you. The main reason is that the water inside is too deep for you to grasp. I am doing it for your own good. Su Ming said at the entrance of the ruins. The spatial fluctuations spread in an instant, and the people inside should be coming out. After thinking about it for a while, Su Ming decided to put on the gloves. Anyone who was given a big bag by himself should leave something behind. The 3 people from Imperial University came out of the ruins, and the inside was emptied. They were already very annoyed that they had gone for nothing, and they never thought that there were people guarding them at the door. 3 blunt sounds came out, and the 3 of them lay down on the stone beside them without making a sound. With the map in hand, it's time to go to work. Glancing at the map, there are quite a few relics marked on it. Su Ming was so happy that his mouth reached to his ears. After identifying the direction, Su Ming set off for the next ruins. Of course, he still had to count the harvest on the way. There were a lot of things in the last room, and I was in a hurry, so I didn't have time to check it carefully. Excluding the metal scraps, there are 3 things that are not easy to give people. The things that can be placed in the bedroom, the owner of the ruins is also very cherished. What a scorching fire attribute. I'm afraid this bead is not someone else's original alien weapon. Even my spatial ability can't understand the internal state. The first item was a seemingly unpretentious bead, but when Su Ming poured his abilities into it, the sudden burst of high temperature swallowed even his spatial abilities. Although it is said that under high temperature, the space will be distorted to a certain extent, but the flame burning through the space, this kind of thing will only appear in fantasy novels. Scary thing. I don't know that the internal structure of this thing is stable and unstable. If it explodes, the power may destroy the imperial capital. Su Ming said fearfully after a while, and quickly applied several space folds on the bead, but fortunately, there was no other movement after the stimulation of the supernatural power, otherwise, he really didn't dare to put it in the storage space. Then he took out the second object, which had a strange shape. It looked like a wristband worn on the arm, with a small hole at one end. Su Ming speculated that it might be a war weapon. But after the ability was injected, there was no reaction at all. Although qi and blood could be absorbed, it was limited to that, and there was no way to activate it at all. It's another thing I don't understand. Now I have some admiration for the pioneers of those alliances. Facing a strange civilization, it's not easy to actually establish a superpower system on their basis. If he doesn't understand these things, Su Ming won't be too disappointed. After all, he is a product of a civilization that he has never been in contact with. It would be strange if he could figure it out all at once. The last object is a container that contains a difficult-to-flow thing. When he first took it out, Su Ming thought it was something similar to medicine and culture fluid, but when he opened the container, he discovered that it was clearly a kind of liquid metal. But what is unbelievable is that you can clearly see this metal, and you can feel it when you touch it with your hands, but in the perception and induction, you can't feel the existence of this thing at all. Whether it is telepathy or energy detection, there is no way to present this metal in the mind, and it feels like nothingness. This is more exciting than opening a blind box. I don't even know what I'm opening after opening it. Su Ming said a little speechlessly, but this is also a special kind of metal. Although I don't know if I can use it to forge my own original weapon, I can keep it for now. But what Su Ming didn't know was that when he tempered the liquid metal into the ability, it was immediately entangled with the metal with the space attribute stored in the ability. Although the fusion speed was very slow, the two but it is really assimilating. Damn it, it's another empty relic. Did the map given by the school make a mistake? They are all relics that have been explored, why are you still on the map? Hey, it's a waste of time again, Boss Luo, or we should give up. If this continues, your points may not be able to enter the top 10. At the entrance of a certain relic in the middle circle, 5 students from the Imperial Capital University walked out of the relic in dejection. Although when the relic was discovered, nothing at the entrance was damaged, and the rooms inside were not opened. If you read Baoshuang novels, go to feilashuo.com. But the entire ruins are empty. Except for the dust all over the floor, there is nothing. If this is the case for individual ruins, you can also say that the owner of the ruins is stingy and left nothing behind. But these are 1, 2 or 3 relics. If they are all like this, it can only show that these relics have been explored. Although I don't know why the explored relics are preserved so well, but it is true. How about this, Yan Dao, you take a few brothers to explore the road ahead, and the other brothers and I will find another ruin to see. If this is still the case, we can score points with peace of mind. The boy called Boss Luo said that if Su Ming hadn't left in such a hurry, he would definitely have a good time with this group of people. Needless to say, Yan Dao, the blisters on his face told that he had been in Su Ming's big bidu, and the Boss Luo he was talking about, Su Ming had also met, was the one who Wu Sai remembered Su Ming. Okay, but Boss Luo, the matter on my face. Yan Dao hesitated for a moment, then stretched out his hand to touch the blistered cheek. Don't worry, our school is fighting to the death, but it's okay to unify the outside world. I've already made an agreement with those few, and I won't let the people of Shanghai University live too comfortably. As for that Su Ming, before entering the inner circle, whether you can meet it can only depend on luck. Quote. Boss Luo said in relief that although it is his duty to vent his anger on his brother, it depends on the occasion. It is not easy to enter the lost world once. Who would leave the ruins and not look for them, and seek revenge? Besides, this place is so big, you may not be able to find it even if you want to. Boss Luo, in fact, we can let him come to us, but I can't. He will watch the people of Shanghai University being beaten by Wang Zhao without saying a word. Yan Dao said bitterly, when he was beaten, he passed out immediately, and he didn't even see the other party's attack. Thinking about how he was a character in Imperial University, he was so miserable when he was attacked by a sneak attack, possible. Now is the time for the freshman competition, a good time to revenge. If you don't find Su Ming and have a meal with him, I'm afraid the anger will not be relieved. Nima, who's talking about me? Su Ming, who just came out of the ruins, sneezed hugely, feeling like his brain was about to be punched out. Before he could make any further moves, he made eye contact with the Imperial University team who were outside the ruins and was about to enter. To this, Su Ming said that it was unreasonable not to reward them with big competitions. He was actually seen sneezing. The appearance is simply unforgivable. Chapter 59. It would never have occurred to Imperial University that taking out the Lost World as the venue for this freshman competition would make a student lose his entire family. Not only are the relics marked on the map, there are also relics that some schools think are not suitable for students to develop and deliberately hide. One counts as one, as long as it is found by Su Ming. That will never be missed. After all, for others, it takes a lot of effort to enter the ruins, either by cracking the protective measures, or by using strong breakthroughs, and sometimes they have to face some organs. Moreover, the ruins also have requirements for the entrance. It is best to have similar attributes to the owner of the ruins, so as to have a certain chance of entering the ruins. Of course, it is also possible to prepare relevant abilities and objects for students early as Imperial University did. But for Su Ming, no matter what kind of relic it is, as long as the space is not specially treated, it is a matter of moving or teleporting. So far, the relics of his storage space are almost full, and he has to clean up the space while looking for the relics. If it weren't for the good quality of the strange beasts in this place, and the evolution points he obtained allowed him to strengthen his abilities again and expand some space, he might have lost more things. This broken wall takes up too much space, we must find a way to deal with it. Su Ming moved out the wall cut from the first ruins, looking at the knife marks 317 on it, feeling worried for a while. After tidying up over and over again, now this thing is the thing he wants to throw away the most. The things left in the storage space are either special objects that he doesn't understand, or power stones. Ability stones are something that can guarantee efficiency improvement in the future. Naturally, the more the better. As for the other things, although I don't understand them, they look very good and I don't want to lose them. By the way, how do the protagonists of novels comprehend meaning? It seems to let the meaning wash away their thoughts. Su Ming muttered, wanting to imitate the protagonist in the previous life novel, but when he felt the fortitude conveyed from the knife mark, he decisively gave up such an idea. Although it is said that this thing has been worn out by time, it may not cause any harm to his body, but the meaning above is very terrifying. He does not want to make himself schizophrenic. But looking at it like this is not an option, so Su Ming decided to be on the safe side and use his mental strength to test it out. When his mental power touched the meaning on the wall, a domineering aura immediately swept over the spiritual power, as if to suppress all his resisting thoughts. Nima, disconnect it for me. Su Ming's face changed, and through contact, he could clearly feel that if he was hit by such a domineering intention, his mental power would definitely collapse. But his own mental power was completely out of control, and he couldn't disconnect it at all. Just when the idea on the wall was about to enter his mind, a strangely shaped wrist guard appeared on his arm. Not only did it block the impact of the domineering intention, it successfully cut off the connection between the mental power and the wall, and it also ensured that Su Ming's mental power was not damaged in the slightest. Damn, it's so hanging. I almost folded here. It's still a little risky to know something. Su Ming wiped off his cold sweat and said, looked at the wrist guard on his hand, and then looked at the wall. These things were all taken out of the same ruins, presumably they are related. Is it a device for mental power? Then this small hole is. Trying to cover the wrist with spiritual power, the core of the wrist immediately started to operate, absorbing and condensing the invisible spiritual power, and finally compressed it into a point. With Su Ming's thought, it flew out from the small hole in the wrist and pierced through it in one fell swoop. Whoa. Damn it. I knew this thing was a good thing. It can actually compress the mental power to materialize. Just now, I'm afraid I'll have a headache for a long time after being next to the last level supernatural being. Su Ming's eyes lit up involuntarily. A mental attack is not a simple physical attack. Just like the attack launched by the wrist guard just now, the physical damage caused is secondary. The most important thing is that the mental power is aimed at the human spirit. Even if the impact just now is resolved, the spiritual power, Sia, will not disappear, but will continue to impact the spirit of the creature. If the opponent's mental strength is weak, he will be directly annihilated and become a fool. If he is strong, he will not become a fool, but it is impossible not to rest his mind and recuperate after being hit like this. It seems that the owner of that ruin is not only a fire attribute user, but also a master of swordsmanship, and an excellent user of spiritual power. Through the connection of some objects, Su Ming probably restored the owner of the ruins. Although it may not be correct, it is not too far off. Why don't you think it's a person with dual elemental and spiritual abilities? It's mainly because of the existence of this wristband. If that person has awakened fire ability and spiritual ability, then there is no need to use this wristband wrist. It can be seen from this that the opponent is just a fire-type supernatural being, but his mental power is strong, so he uses the wrist guard to improve his use of mental power. After trying it, Su Ming also knows how to deal with the sword intent on the wall. With his current level of sword skills, it is naturally impossible to comprehend these sword intents. How long has he practiced the sword? Although he can't comprehend it, he can preserve the sword intent. Use your own mental strength as a lure to guide the sword intent on the knife mark to the top of the hole. With the hardness of an A-level sword, it should be no problem. Anyway, with the existence of the wrist guard, it can break the connection between the sword intent and the spiritual power in time. If it doesn't work once, you can do it several times. Just now he felt the dominance of the saber intent, and feeling it again still made Su Ming breathless. Fortunately, some saber intent had already appeared on Pokong, otherwise he would not dare to continue if he failed a few more times. It's done. I don't know how many times I tried, but each time I guided it a little bit, I finally transferred the saber intent on the wall to Pokong. In this way, although he didn't comprehend this sword intent, he could use it by breaking through the air. Although the effect was much worse, it was better than nothing. And in the process of using Pokong in the future, including when practicing saber techniques, he can comprehend it, and sooner or later he will master this saber intent. So although Su Ming was very haggard, the excitement in his eyes couldn't be suppressed. Now I can finally lose this wall, and this is my reward for carrying you for so long. Feeling the domineering feeling coming from Pokongdao from time to time, Su Ming said to himself against the wall, then turned and walked towards the inner circle. Chapter 60. A silver brilliance flashed, and a lizard-like beast was neatly divided into two halves from the waist, and blood spilled all over the ground. Then the head exploded, and a crystal nucleus flew out and landed in the palm of one hand. It shouldn't be far from the inner circle here. According to the instructions on the map, there should be a good ruin ahead. The owner of the palm is Su Ming. While exploring the ruins, he killed strange beasts. Even with the convenience of space abilities, it has been 2 days since he came to this place. Although Imperial University is looking for him in the foreign world, when Su Ming acts alone, he always comes and goes without a trace. It is impossible to intercept him in this place. Except for some unlucky people who happened to be bumped into by him, he hardly had any dealings with others, and he left after searching the ruins. And although these unlucky people said they met Su Ming, in most cases they were taken care of by Dabido before they saw anyone, and when they woke up they only felt pain in their cheeks. In this way, Su Ming's side is comfortable, but the rest of Shanghai Metropolitan University is having a hard time. Not to mention Imperial University, they formed a relationship with Su Ming early on, and have long thought about how to target Shanghai Metropolis side. And among the unlucky people who were taken care of by Su Ming with a big bidu, there were also many people from the ancient capital and the southern capital. At first, they didn't know who the perpetrators were, but as the news spread, Su Ming's identity was naturally hidden. Live. They couldn't find Su Ming, so they naturally took their anger out on the other people in Modu University. When Su Ming was looking for the ruins, Yuquan was very lively. In the last second, the Imperial University was bullying the Imperial University, and in the next second, the Imperial University was chasing the Imperial University, and then they were beaten back by people from the Imperial capital, the ancient capital, or the southern capital. Besides, at Shanghai University, although they were targeted for no reason because of Su Ming, many freshmen expressed dissatisfaction. But as the fire started, the resentment towards Su Ming was reduced a lot. In the end, they are all a group of students. At this rebellious age, who would not be impulsive and who would not be angry? But because of acting alone, Su Ming doesn't know about such things, and because he spends most of his time working in the ruins, he has never heard of it, otherwise he might not be here leisurely killing strange beasts, looking for relics. Although he is not a saint, he still has the courage and consciousness to do things alone. Everyone came here to strengthen their own strength, but because of their own sake, they fought with others and were even bullied. Aside from the fact that he is also a member of Shanghai University, even if he is a passerby, he would not stand by and watch such a thing happen. But now, he doesn't know if he really doesn't know. If Fatty is by his side, he might know a little bit, but who knows where Fatty and the others are now. After solving the third-order alien beast Megalodon, he searched for the location of the ruins under the guidance of the map. Suddenly, a burst of powerful supernatural fluctuations erupted in front, which proved that everyone here felt the temperature drop. Has it been discovered yet? And it seems that there are two groups of people. Look at this movement, the confrontation between the third-order superhumans. After confirming the location where the ability erupted, it was very close to the ruins he was looking for. Su Ming couldn't help but sighed. The closer the ruins are to the inner circle, the higher the value they contain. Although this rule has not been verified, the situation is basically the same. So it is impossible for Su Ming to give up. What he is worried about now is whether the two groups discovered the ruins at the same time, or a group of people entered the ruins and ran into each other when they came out. Anyway, Su Ming decided to take a look. Although the ice ability is not rare, but among the people he knows, there happen to be two people who have a good relationship. What if they bump into each other? A few minutes later, Su Ming wanted to give himself a slap in the face, but he just thought about it for a while, but he actually bumped into each other, and both of them were here. Right now, Shuiwei and Yinger are standing side by side. The ice abilities around them are entangled with each other, causing a small area to condense into frost. In addition to the two of them, there are two girls from Shanghai University, but the strength of these two is a bit weaker, and they are not from the ice department, so they dare not fight side by side with the two girls. Opposite them are more than a dozen people wearing different school uniforms. Among them are two third-order supernatural beings, people from Imperial Capital University and Ancient Capital University. My good boy, the ice abilities of these two women are so strong. I used so many combat skills at the same time and I was frozen, and I was almost frozen. Shaolin, are you okay? The boy wearing Xiao Fu of the Ancient Capital University said in a little surprise, then shattered the frostbitten stone on his fist, and recondensed a piece to cover his fist. Ask for flowers. It's okay, it's also the third level, she can't do anything to me. The main reason is that the girls around her are weird. Logically speaking, the temperature of the third level ice ability can't be so low, find a way to separate them. When Shaolin came to the Ancient Capital University, he looked at Yinger with some doubts. Although Yinger is only at the second level, her abilities are indeed not comparable to ordinary ice-type abilities. Even Su Ming, who has space abilities, has to admit that Yinger Guoneng is domineering. Okay, You attract their attention, let's attack the enemy and save them. People from Gouda University looked at the two girls behind Shuiwei and the two, and said to Shaolin. They also noticed just now that one of the two opponents is not very convenient to move. If they attack the other two girls, that third-level ability user will definitely go to the rescue. As soon as they separate, this overwhelming ice attribute will disappear. At that time, Shaolin will be able to deal with the remaining 10 main stages after finishing the second stage. A whirlwind rose from under Shaolin's feet, and he moved towards Shuiwei and Shuiwei like a ghost. At the same time, the man from Gouda University threw his hands at the ground, and a crack turned and extended to the two girls behind. Mean. Shuiwei's pretty face turned cold, and she cursed secretly. After forcing Shaolin back, she manipulated an ice lock to stab the crack, but was blocked by the rising rocks. Sorry, I have more combat skills, so I prefer the feeling of using multiple combat skills at the same time. The boy from Gouda University showed his white teeth and said with a smile. Then the whole ground cracked, and a giant hand made of rock emerged from the crack, grabbing the two girls and holding them up in the air. Ah, help, Sister Wei. When did the two girls experience such a thing? They immediately paled with fright and screamed in panic. Hateful. Shuiwei's face became much uglier, and the supernatural power surged all over her body, and a huge weapon condensed on her arm, and she slashed towards the rock giant. Shaolin, who had been waiting for a long time, launched an attack immediately, intending to defeat Yinger in one fell swoop. Without Yinger's boost, the effect of Shuiwei's ability would be greatly reduced. Both of them are at the third level. After defeating Yinger, the victory is sealed. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.